Point cloud data from recap and GIS content, such as sewer and flood information, are added to enrich the model and enable the conceptual design of road and site layouts in the project's real-world context. Switching to building design, a concept is sketched for a health clinic in the site context using Format Pro. The massing is refined, details and materials are added. The impact of sun and shadows is studied, and solar analysis is performed. Insight is used to conduct whole building energy analysis and optimization. Back in InfraWorks, the conceptual models are evaluated within the site context. Next, detailed building design is performed in Revit. The format mass is used to locate architectural elements. Dynamo is used to study alternative roof concepts through computational design. Structural and MEP engineers create models for engineering design, analysis, detailing, and documentation. The design disciplines link their Revit models to ensure the building design remains coordinated throughout the process. As the building design comes together, civil engineers develop the detailed site design in Civil 3D, including parking lot layout, grading, and drainage networks. Using vehicle tracking, even vehicle movement can be simulated and analyzed. Then in InfraWorks, a compelling visual is generated to improve understanding of the design. The next phase of the project is the design of a hospital. As before, the project moves from concept to completion with Format Pro and Revit, starting with architectural elements. Structural and MEP engineering disciplines join the project to create a highly detailed, coordinated building design. During pre-construction, design teams and contractors can perform 3D clash detection on the building and site models in Navisworks. Together, the team can identify interferences between steel framing and mechanical ducts in the building, as well as between site utility networks in the infrastructure design, enabling resolution of any issues between design intent, constructability, and fabrication before construction even begins. Finally, the team can also conduct 4D simulations to understand project phasing and construction sequencing, taking the project one step closer to the field. The Autodesk AEC Collection gives every designer, engineer, and contractor the tools and integrated workflows they need to deliver building and infrastructure projects with confidence. Every AEC project begins with an idea and a multidisciplinary team working with a collection of tools to bring that idea to life. Civil engineers start by developing an existing conditions model in InfraWorks. Point cloud data from recap and GIS content, such as sewer and flood information, are added to enrich the model and enable the conceptual design of road and site layouts in the project's real-world context. Switching to building design, a concept is sketched for a health clinic in the site context using Format Pro. The massing is refined, details and materials are added. The impact of sun and shadows is studied, and solar analysis is performed. Insight is used to conduct whole building energy analysis and optimization. Back in InfraWorks, the conceptual models are evaluated within the site context. Next, detailed building design is performed in Revit. The format mass is used to locate architectural elements. Dynamo is used to study alternative roof concepts through computational design. Structural and MEP engineers create models for engineering design, analysis, detailing, and documentation. The design disciplines link their Revit models to ensure the building design remains coordinated throughout the process. As the building design comes together, civil engineers develop the detailed site design in Civil 3D, including parking lot layout, grading, and drainage networks. Using vehicle tracking, even vehicle movement can be simulated and analyzed. Then in InfraWorks, a compelling visual is generated to improve understanding of the design. The next phase of the project is the design of a hospital. As before, the project moves from concept to completion with Format Pro and Revit, starting with architectural elements. Structural and MEP engineering disciplines join the project to create a highly detailed, coordinated building design. During pre-construction, design teams and contractors can perform 3D clash detection on the building and site models in Navisworks. Together, the team can identify interferences between steel framing and mechanical ducts in the building, as well as between site utility networks in the infrastructure design, enabling resolution of any issues between design intent, constructability, and fabrication before construction even begins. Finally, the team can also conduct 4D simulations to understand project phasing and construction sequencing, taking the project one step closer to the field. The Autodesk AEC Collection gives every designer, engineer, and contractor the tools and integrated workflows they need to deliver building and infrastructure projects with confidence. Every AEC project begins with an idea and a multidisciplinary team working with a collection of tools to bring that idea to life. Civil engineers start by developing an existing conditions model in InfraWorks. Point cloud data from recap and GIS content, such as sewer and flood information, are added to enrich the model and enable the conceptual design of road and site layouts in the project's real-world context. Switching to building design, a concept is sketched for a health clinic in the site context using Format Pro. The massing is refined, details and materials are added. The impact of sun and shadows is studied, and solar analysis is performed. Insight is used to conduct whole building energy analysis and optimization. Back in InfraWorks, the conceptual models are evaluated within the site context. Next, detailed building design is performed in Revit. The format mass is used to locate architectural elements. Dynamo is used to study alternative roof concepts through computational design. Structural and MEP engineers create models for engineering design, analysis, detailing, and documentation. The design disciplines link their Revit models to ensure the building design remains coordinated throughout the process. As the building design comes together, civil engineers develop the detailed site design in Civil 3D, including parking lot layout, grading, and drainage networks. Using vehicle tracking, even vehicle movement can be simulated and analyzed. Then in InfraWorks, a compelling visual is generated to improve understanding of the design. The next phase of the project is the design of a hospital. As before, the project moves from concept to completion with Format Pro and Revit, starting with architectural elements. Structural and MEP engineering disciplines join the project to create a highly detailed, coordinated building design. During pre-construction, design teams and contractors can perform 3D clash detection on the building and site models in Navisworks. Together, the team can identify interferences between steel framing and mechanical ducts in the building, as well as between site utility networks in the infrastructure design, enabling resolution of any issues between design intent, constructability, and fabrication before construction even begins. Finally, the team can also conduct 4D simulations to understand project phasing and construction sequencing, taking the project one step closer to the field. The Autodesk AEC collection gives every designer, engineer, and contractor the tools and integrated workflows they need to deliver building and infrastructure projects with confidence. Every AEC project begins with an idea and a multidisciplinary team working with a collection of tools to bring that idea to life. Civil engineers start by developing an existing conditions model in InfraWorks. Point cloud data from recap and GIS content, such as sewer and flood information, are added to enrich the model and enable the conceptual design of road and site layouts in the project's real-world context. Switching to building design, a concept is sketched for a health clinic in the site context using Format Pro. The massing is refined, details and materials are added. The impact of sun and shadows is studied, and solar analysis is performed. Insight is used to conduct whole building energy analysis and optimization. Back in InfraWorks, the conceptual models are evaluated within the site context. Next, detailed building design is performed in Revit. The format mass is used to locate architectural elements. Dynamo is used to study alternative roof concepts through computational design. Structural and MEP engineers create models for engineering design, analysis, detailing, and documentation. The design disciplines link their Revit models to ensure the building design remains coordinated throughout the process. As the building design comes together, civil engineers develop the detailed site design in Civil 3D, including parking lot layout, grading, and drainage networks. Using vehicle tracking, even vehicle movement can be simulated and analyzed. Then in InfraWorks, a compelling visual is generated to improve understanding of the design. The next phase of the project is the design of a hospital. As before, the project moves from concept to completion with Format Pro and Revit, starting with architectural elements. Structural and MEP engineering disciplines join the project to create a highly detailed, coordinated building design. During pre-construction, design teams and contractors can perform 3D clash detection on the building and site models in Navisworks. Together, the team can identify interferences between steel framing and mechanical ducts in the building, as well as between site utility networks in the infrastructure design, enabling resolution of any issues between design intent, constructability, and fabrication before construction even begins. Finally, the team can also conduct 4D simulations to understand project phasing and construction sequencing, taking the project one step closer to the field. The Autodesk AEC collection gives every designer, engineer, and contractor the tools and integrated workflows they need to deliver building and infrastructure projects with confidence.
May I have a show of hands if you can actually see me clearly and hear me clearly? I believe that there's a raise hand button on your screens. All right. So, first of all, thank you for joining our webinar today. And I'll be your host for this webinar. My name is Christy Angeli Wilhoit. I'm a senior system sales consultant from Cebu. This webinar is the third episode on sustainability, getting used to the new normal series to help AEC companies to move forward through design and innovation technology by learning how it works and how you can benefit from it. So let me share with you our agenda for this afternoon. I will introduce to you our company prior to proceeding to the main topic, which is leveraging BIM to transform building design and construction projects, followed by adapting BIM technology with CIM Access Plus. During each presentation, please feel free to leave your questions at the chat box as we will address those during the open forum with the speaker. Then, before we wrap up, we will be giving you quick survey questions. A digital certificate of attendance is automatically generated and will be issued to those who will participate in the survey. All right, so before I proceed with the main topic, let me introduce to you first our company. CIM Technologies has been providing technology solution from software to hardware for 30 years already. More than that, we are also offering training, technical support, and other expanded services for the AEC and manufacturing industries. These are the solutions we are offering for 3D: conceptual design, detailed design for architectural, MEP, and structural. We also have clash analysis, animations, and photorealistic renderings or visualization, quantity takeoff, construction documents, energy model analysis, and collaboration among project teams. If you are interested to any of these, feel free to message us so we can set an appointment for a free demo. We also have project management or scheduling for 4D, cost planning and estimates for 5D, building performance analysis for 6D, and facility management for 7D. And in case you know someone or you have requirements for manufacturing solutions, here's our offerings. We are also offering trusted work large format printers and plotters powered by HP and industry-leading fixed and mobile workstation by Dell. If you want to set an appointment for a virtual demo in HP large format printer, you may send us a message in the chat box. In case you have problems with your maintenance side, we can offer to you our IT services, such as maintenance agreement and preventive maintenance for HP plotters and printers, diagnosis and repair, network design layout, network cabling, network configurations, and system or network administration services. We also have our service division, Alteon 3D, to provide you our expanded services such as 2D drafting, large format scanning, printing and plotting, 3D BIM services, prototyping, product design, and many more. Please visit www.alteon3d.com to see other service offerings. And we have our training division, which is Stanford IT Learning, to provide you basic to advanced training and education in the field of AEC, manufacturing, and power and utilities industries. The good news is that our trainings are now available online and you can pay through the website as well. So if you want to learn about any BIM tools and the best practices or latest trends in relation to your job role, you can learn it from Stanford. These are our partners for the solutions and services that we are offering. Feel free to contact us should you have requirements that you think we can provide for you. Once again, for the benefit of those who just arrived in the session, you may ask questions by typing it in the chat box and we will address it during the open forum. So next, let me introduce to you our guest speaker for this session, the technical specialist from Autodesk ASEAN, Engineer John Rivas.
All right. Thanks, CIM, for having us here today and basically allowing us to share with you some of the applications that we have in Autodesk. And we'll focus more about how to leverage those tools in order to transform building design and construction projects. So in this presentation, we'll showcase to you the different applications that are available within Autodesk. So from conceptual design all the way from handover and operation. So this slide actually talks about some of the many applications that we have in Autodesk to support that IDD process, starting from conceptual design all the way to handover. And on every stage of the different process, BIM is actually used. So the intention here is that in BIM, you are able to leverage on the models that you build upstream and also downstream. So this is just a quick mapping, and if you would like to know more about this, we can discuss later in the Q&A. But in this afternoon, right, or for this session that I'm going to cover, we'll talk about how BIM can actually be helpful in your business continuity plan. So business continuity plan is a methodology or making sure that everything in your systems is basically there's a process that is involved in creating a system of prevention, or in this case, like a potential recovery from potential threats, let's say within your organization. So it ensures that let's say personnel or assets are actually protected and you are able to function quickly in an event of a disaster. So the business continuity plan is generally conceived in advance and involves input from various stakeholders and also personnels. So cloud is actually one of the tools that enables design firms and companies right now in order to prepare for their BCP, or in this case, their business continuity plan, and how BIM can actually transform this in helping the built environment, especially in the Philippines. So when preparing your BCP, one of those things is that determining how will those risks will affect your day-to-day operations, and also helping you to implement safeguards and procedures to mitigate the risks involving the operations of your organization. And another thing is that in order when preparing your business continuity plan, it is important that you actually test those procedures to ensure, or this in this case, like dry runs, right? To ensure those things are working, those processes are working in the first place. And finally, once before we, let's say, implement these plans, right, you should start be reviewing the process on how to make sure that it's up to date and it's working smoothly. So we actually discussed and actually did a survey for most of our customers. I think was during before the pandemic, on how they could actually establish their BCPs in their organization. So the response that we got when we actually conducted that survey prior to COVID is that most of them are preparing in such event they would like to establish the, let's say, VPN connections. And another example would be ensuring that their teams has remote desktop tools to be able to actually log in directly in their user's machine. And during the time of pandemic, and in Singapore, actually, what happened here is that most of the teams are actually isolated in their different divisions. So they don't allow any visitations from other departments. So they try to isolate their own workspace. And finally, there's also implemented, like especially in the construction division as well, to allow or apply shifting work schedules. So this is how some companies are actually practicing it right now, and I believe you might be practicing this as well. So BCPs are very important, and it's a a fundamental aspect for any business or any organization, because it actually, if let's say your operations are actually impacted, there could be a potential loss of revenue or potential loss of, let's say, winning projects for your organization. There could be a drop in, let's say, productivity for most teams, and as well as, we might be losing to our competitors in terms of winning those projects. So, what we actually, as a technology company, when we started off, I think during the pandemic, we tried to provide companies tools to help them prepare their organization for their BCP. So we had this extended access program that happened several months ago to help companies cope up with these difficult times. And at Autodesk as a whole, we're actually trying to provide different sets of alternatives on how companies or organizations could operate. So for Autodesk, there are three things that I would like to highlight in this presentation. So with Autodesk, we provide tools that allows you to get the right access to the tools, also the applications that you could use, plus cloud platforms that helps you establish a common data environment for your organization. So let's talk about first about access. Within the Autodesk portfolio, if let's say if you have an active agreement or subscription with Autodesk, we actually provide home use rights for to allow you to use your applications in your home. So once you activate your license, you don't have to actually, borrow licenses from, or let's say get another licenses for your home use. So all you have to do is to simply authenticate your license through the internet, and you should be able to actually use either the AEC collection or Revit or AutoCAD in such matter. So I've left this link here just in case that if, let's say, if you would like to know more, I mean, this link is something that you could actually follow on to understand more of the benefits that you could get in terms of getting access to your home for your home rights. So in terms of applications, so one of the tools that we actually provide and most customers are not aware of is that AutoCAD is now moving into the cloud as well. So with the AEC collection, or whenever you have a subscription for AutoCAD, we provide access rights to AutoCAD Web and also using your mobile apps as well. So if let's say if you're working on any AutoCAD files that is less than 40 megabytes, you can actually open AutoCAD even on a web browser. So just a quick one, we have this application called AutoCAD Web. So it allows you to open AutoCAD directly in your web browsers. And the thing is that one of the latest developments that we had with AutoCAD mobile or web is that the ability for you to link your BIM 360, if let's say if you have an active BIM 360 subscription, you can start linking your BIM 360 site directly in the AutoCAD web app. And the thing is that with this AutoCAD web app, you can instantly draw directly from your web browser, so you don't have to install anything. All you need to have is an internet connection, plus a web browser, so you can start opening and editing your AutoCAD files directly on the cloud. And once you made an update, you can easily um, synchronize those changes and then get another stakeholder to edit them, or in this case, view those files without the need of actually opening up AutoCAD. So it really helps to transform BIM projects. So instead of like traditionally doing it on your desktop, now we have the option for mobility of using it through mobile devices and web browsers as well. So that's one of the cool things that we provide on this current situation that we're in now. And so the next one for those architects and designers out there. So if let's say if you're creating your detailed designs in AutoCAD, for any conceptualization tool, we actually provide Autodesk Formit Pro. So with Formit Pro, this is actually a tool that is primarily used by architects and designers that allows you to create conceptual designs on a web browser as well. So you have so it exists in three platforms. So you can use your tablets, you can use your laptops, and also with an installed Formit Pro application, or you can actually use your web browser for it. So as long as you're using an iOS or Android OS platform, you can install Formit from there. And the good thing here is that these models that you develop in Formit, you can actually pass it on to like BIM applications such as Revit to create more detailed documentation of let's say the designs that you have done in Formit. So going back here, so I have another instance that I have here in my screen. So same with the Formit application. So if you're familiar with the traditional tools like SketchUp, so this actually works similarly with the SketchUp application. So that allows you to actually modify designs in a 3D space as to create conceptual design. So it's very easy to use. So if let's say if you have used those tools before, this is something that you could do with the SketchUp application. So if let's with the Formit application. So all you have to do is double click, make changes, and then from there, once you actually completed, let's say, this conceptual design in Formit, you have the ability to export out these files and directly open it with the Revit application to conduct more detailed design. So the next one that I'm going to show you, so we talk about the access platform access. We talk about the applications or the platforms, and also we'll talk about some of the cloud platforms that we have in Autodesk. So in terms of preparing for your, let's say, your business continuity plan, one of the, most successful firms actually leverages on cloud to establish a common data environment, or I would say um, it is the central source of truth for any of their project documentation. So with BIM 360, it allows you to centralize all your project information. So it's not only limited to, let's say, Revit files or AutoCAD files. So it supports about 60 file formats that allows you to store all these files into the cloud, and basically you can start viewing it directly without the need of having the CAD application. So you can also easily transform, let's say, from design stage all the way to construction and even to handover as well. So one of the advantage of using the BIM 360 platform allows you to actually save files directly into your, let's say, on cloud. So from your Revit application, you don't actually need to actually save it in your local machines, or in this case, saving it in your central servers, which is a physical server that might be in your network in your office. So, so some companies actually has some limitations, or I would say restrictions in terms of accessing their servers through a VPN connection. So this is a good alternative for you to actually, if you are working on a Revit project and you would need to actually access those Revit files. So what happens here is that those Revit users actually can simply upload their files on the cloud. And in the event that they would like to actually share this information to other stakeholders or internally within their organization, there are workflows that is developed inside. I mean, I think Kevin will show more in detail later on to allow you to actually collaborate much more easier for other teams. So in the event that, let's say, if you would like to share certain information, other stakeholders will be able to interrogate what are the changes that you have made. So in the event that, let's say, you have added an element, or you have deleted an element, or modified an element. So with BIM 360, once that, let's say, you have uploaded those files on the cloud, it tracks all the information that you actually shared and also consumed by other stakeholders in the project as well. So it gives you better flexibility in terms of saving files on the cloud. And then at the same time, it allows you traceability as well of what's happening in the project, because it actually monitors the changes that you have made, plus all the comments that you have made let's say, in the drawings or in the designs that you have uploaded within BIM 360. So one of the many workflows that are available here is that once you have uploaded those files, other stakeholders doesn't need to actually open, let's say, these files on a Revit application. But since this is everything is on a web application, you don't have to install anything. All you would need to have is actually just an internet connection and a web browser. So all that information that came from Revit actually transcends into BIM 360 as well. So in the event, let's say in an event of a design review, you are able to pull all those information that was actually generated from the Revit application. So again, it's a real-time server. It helps to transform teams from, let's say, moving the traditional methods of, let's say, viewing it directly from your desktop application or printing the drawings. So what happens here is that moving it into the cloud allows you to actually um, access the files much more easier without the need of printing any documentation. So in terms of transforming your team as well, one of the developments that actually was introduced in BIM 360 is the ability for you to allow creating markups directly on the drawing. So traditionally, what you would need to do here is that once you, let's say, completed the design and somebody has to actually make some comments on your design, you may need to actually print it as PDF, print it out, do an actual markup, and then save it and then send it via an email. So all of these workflows are all streamlined because all of these things is done directly within the BIM 360 application. So it is a real time saver, plus it actually simplifies all those workflows into one environment. So it really helps organizations and construction teams to work and communicate more effectively rather than the traditional methods of, let's say, sending emails or sending messages. And all of these things is simplified within BIM 360. So one of the things that I would like to share with you as well is that BIM 360 is not only limited to web browsers. So in the event that, let's say, you need to go to a location where there's no internet connection, or let's say you need to go to a, let's say, a facility, let's say underground. So with BIM 360, you can still access those documents without the need of an internet connection, and you can still perform the workflows that you could do in BIM 360. So once you have downloaded it in your mobile device, you'll be able like to perform like what you're seeing in your screen here. You can perform measurements. You can also like perform like markups or creating issues. So over here, it allows you to actually access those documents without needing an internet connection. So traditionally, what you would need to do is that to actually bring, or let's say carry out actual printed documents at the construction site. So it allows you to actually be mobile access more data. So sometimes you're actually limited with the number of paper that you can bring on site. So with BIM 360, in the event that, let's say, there's an issue that you would like to create within the BIM 360 platform, you can do that directly on a mobile device. So once you're actually connected again online, all those information that you have actually typed in or saved within your mobile device, those things will synchronize back into the cloud. So you can actually leverage on the camera that is actually provided in your mobile devices, whether it's going to be your mobile phones or tablets. So you can actually snap photos or let's say use photos in your library to attach it in your BIM 360. And then all this information like photos will be synchronized back into the cloud. So again, so what Autodesk provides is the ability for you to have access, whether it's you're accessing it from your office or let's say from your home. We also have tools that enables you to leverage cloud or web browser applications so that you don't have to install the physical or I would say desktop applications locally in your machine. And third is that we provide cloud platforms for you to actually establish a common data environment or a single source of truth in your organization. So all of these things, Autodesk provides these benefits, and we ensure that all the applications has security and also accountability. So Autodesk is a certified ISO 27001 and also compliant to SOC 2 compliance as well. So with Autodesk, we provide as well proper team communication. So we provide solutions that traces all team activities and also the history of what's happening in the construction project. So as CDE, we help companies reduce their investment in physical servers and also storing all their project documentations in one location. And the last is actually we provide easy to use tools that enables you to start working on your projects in a matter of minutes. Like setting up BIM 360 is quite straightforward. So less complexity is means that it's faster adoption between project teams. So before I end this presentation, just want to share with you some of the companies that actually has established their common data environment prior to COVID. So one of the companies that I've worked on personally is Ong and Ong, which is also based in Singapore. So what they did is that a few years back, prior to COVID, what they have done is that they moved away from their physical servers and moving everything directly on cloud. So I believe in this period of time, I think our internet connectivity, especially in the Philippines, is I think hopefully it's getting mature. I think in the past decades, right, it's a big change, as I would say. But moving into BIM 360, so it doesn't really require a lot of bandwidth in terms of using it. So one of the companies that actually has migrated to this one is so they're a multi-trade consultant. So they decided that they just want to stop on using physical servers. So all of their projects actually now resides within BIM 360. So they have about a few hundred projects that is already in BIM 360, and they have established this as their main CDE for their projects. So not only for design, but also for documentation as well. And maybe just to share with you as well, so they also got their ISO 19650 certification, dash one and dash two, during the COVID pandemic. So it's a really one of the customer successes that we had, where companies like migrated from uh, from from traditional methods and moving into the cloud. So really transforming their organization into a different new way of working. So another organization that I would like to share with you as well is this company. So this is DWP from Thailand. So they have actually had this showcase for their 98 wireless. So this is a condominium in Bangkok. So when I think there was a situation that similar to Philippines, right? That within a few days, the government announced that anyone is not allowed to go outside, and they were actually able to put up a system in place to actually have that stay-at-home option to basically continue doing their work. So cloud actually helped them a lot in terms of like being ready and available when the crisis actually hit, especially in Thailand. And finally, also what they have encountered is that they reduce the time spent on when they're working on their models. So by as much as 30% as what they have done they have done before. So on that note, that ends my presentation. Unless you guys have any clarification or any burning questions, we'll try to address that later in the forum. So I'll hand it over to Kevin.
Nick, please reserve your questions or type it in the chat box now, as we will address your questions during the open forum. So now, let me introduce to you our second speaker who will discuss on how you're going to adapt and leverage with this BIM technology. Our Senior Application Engineer in CIM Technologies, Engineer Kevin Yalong.
Okay, so this is the second part of um, the presentation today, and I am to present the tools to get you ready with BIM also. Okay, so our agenda is we'll be focusing on the cloud-based collaboration, which is Surgeon has mentioned before, and for you to get ready with BIM, CIM also offers some of our services for you uh, to get ready and to create your BIM. Okay, and then afterwards um, we will go to the Q&A portion of this session. Okay, so the surgeon discussed before, it is the BIM 360 platform, which is the your common data environment. So here is a breakdown of the various workflow that can happen within BIM 360. So you can see that across all these workflows is the underlying collection of project data that can help you give better analytics and insights. Okay, so in addition with BIM 360, it is built using the Forge platform, which allows for an open API and integration with other construction software solutions so that all of our project information can be centralized. So BIM 360 keeps all of your project workflows in one platform. So this can be everything from design collaboration through construction activities. So one of the key benefits that you can get from BIM 360 is from the document management module, which has the where you can create your markup drawings, or you can also control the versions from each files, and you can also create your approval workflows. So here in this video, you can also assign permissions to every folder that you have, and in each person, you can assign a certain permission. Okay, you can also do um, compare drawings, whether it is in PDF, and you can also do it in 3D also. So here is an example in PDF format. And next is the example for a Revit, a Revit model here, where you can actually see the difference or what has been changed in the version 1 of this drawing versus the version 2. Okay, and you can also edit Microsoft Office documents here in BIM 360 document management. Okay, so as you edit the file, it also gives, or it also creates another version of that file. So another module here is the design collaboration module, which is where you can collaborate your Revit models with other designers as well. Okay, so you can collaborate in real time, and you can streamline your deliverables. So in here, you have as a structural engineer here, in our swim lane at the top here, you can see that there is another published model from architecture firm. You can explore that model to see what are the changes made from this version. Okay, you can filter down all of the changes here. It is color coded against the model here. Okay, so as you change your visualization here, it also creates um, your version compare. Okay, so after exploring those changes, you can now consume this version of this file for you to have the updated version of that link file. Okay, and in this manner, you can now edit your model accordingly with those changes. Okay, so next is the coordination module from BIM 360. So in here, you can create a clash report from each model that has been published in BIM 360. So from the models here, you can create your model coordination space. You can actually choose what file you can create your clash report. And then from this dashboard, okay, let me go back here. So from this dashboard, you can see here that there are clashes in each model that you have created in this coordination space. Okay, and then from that clash, you can now create a report, or you can filter down what are the valid clashes or not. Okay, so you can create a report, a validation report, wherein the designer can edit the model accordingly. And then in BIM 360, you can also do RFIs and submittals and create those supports for quality check also. So in here, you can establish your RFIs. You can assign it to a person and give it a due date up to when he can answer the RFIs. You can also attach files to support these RFIs. Okay. So after some validation, you can also create submittals for specifications of other facilities or in your projects. Okay. So in this example, we created a fire extinguisher cabinet submittal report, and you can also attach the PDF specification sheet in this submittal report. Okay, so you can also view that PDF report in BIM 360. So in CIM, we have re-established the subscription based from your Autodesk AEC collection, and to give a better value on your subscription. So CIM established this Access Plus, which can be bundled with our trainings and also from our BIM services. Okay. So in terms of the BIM or BIM services, you can choose from this list whether you are in need of BIM modeling for rebars, structural modeling, architectural, MEPF, or even for facade and landscape modeling. So in establishing your BIM, you have to start in your templates. Okay, so we can help you in establishing your model templates from tags to annotations, and even for your keynotes and some line styles in your design or models. Okay, so if you are having a hard time in creating or in establishing your elements in Revit, we can also help you in creating or even convert your CAD 3D models to Revit library contents. And for design collaboration, we can also help you in streamlining or in establishing your CDE by using the Autodesk BIM 360. We can also help you in creating the clash report from your 3D models as well, and even for quantity takeouts that are needed for your BOM or BOQs. So for design visualization, whether it is a still visualization or still image rendering, or even for you have a requirement for AR or VR, we can help you also in creating those contents. Okay, and also for validating your BIM models, if they are in line with the standards that you have established before creating the models, we can help you in model auditing. Okay, so these are the BIM services that we can that can be bundled with our CIM Access Plus. So in CIM Access Plus, we have um, we are we have a new phase with our CIM Access Plus. So with your Access Plus subscription, it now comes with the Access Plus portal. So in here, you can create or you can see the help desk, the subscription that you have, or even um, an insight of what was going on in your subscription. Okay. So for subscription dashboard, you can see here that all of the subscription that you have primarily for the AAC collection. Okay, you can also submit and track support tickets. For example, for us to help you in troubleshooting your softwares. Okay, and last is the dashboard where you can get quick information on your subscription and the help desk tickets. If you have some pending issues um, or you have some finished or closed uh, tickets. Okay, so that's it for me. I'm opening the floor for Q&A. Okay, so I see some question here. So by the way, if you have questions, you can type it in the chat box and we can answer them for you. Okay. So one of the question here is, may I ask about the web apps? Is there a need for a license in order to be able to use the application such as AutoCAD in the web browser? Okay, so I think Surgeon, you can answer this one.
Yeah, thanks, Harold, for that question. So with Autodesk, as I've showed earlier today, right now there's two applications that are available on web browser, which is Formit and AutoCAD. For if you have an existing AC collection subscription or an AutoCAD subscription, this is actually part of your entitlement, meaning it needs to be assigned to your account, and then that this allows you to actually open it directly within the web browser. So there's still authentication that is going to be done as you actually open up the application on the web browser. So same goes for Formit. So for Formit, if let's say you want to utilize the pro features with the likes of energy analysis or building performance analysis, you could do that also with your Formit. But for Formit, there are two versions of it. So one is the free version plus the other one is the pro version. So if let's say if you need to actually perform energy calculations, then you would need the pro version as well. But if it is just for basic 3D modeling, like generating like 3D shapes, you could do that with Formit without the need of signing in with your account. So don't hope that answers that question. If you have any further clarifications, just feel free to type it in the chat box.
Okay, so I'm seeing some hand raising here. Uh, Please, if you have questions, please type it in the chat box.
Sir Kevin,
Yeah.
for the benefit of everybody else, I just like to ask this question, which is common on the field, if you don't mind. So,
Yeah.
what are the challenges that a company will encounter while transitioning into BIM implementation?
Okay, Sir John.
Okay, you want me to take up the question?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think what is important is that identifying the use case Primarily, most companies face this challenge of adapting to BIM because they're not able to identify what is the use case for transitioning into BIM. But then again, right? So as what BIM stands for, it's not all about 3D modeling, but because it is a process where you can leverage that 3D model for downstream operations. So the level of detail that you develop in your BIM model will depend on how that data is going to be consumed in the later phases of the project. So that's where you need to actually define, and I think it helps you to transition. Okay, what are the information that we have to develop in BIM? So whether it's going to be for documentation purposes or quantification or even for coordination purposes, it is important to specify which milestones that we should address with BIM, and then from there you can define on what type of level of detail that you have to actually put up in your BIM application, or in this case, Revit.
Thank you very much, Engineer Rivas. Can you hear me clearly though? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
All right.
it's clear.
I see. One last question, sir, just a follow up. So, what should companies be concerned about when starting down the BIM path?
I think one is having the right mindset, having the right end in mind, right, will get your teams going in transitioning into BIM. Um, so I would narrow it down with basically you need to have your management support. That's one. And also you need to have the right tools in moving into BIM. So this is where I think Autodesk and CIF could provide you the right tools in transitioning into BIM, and also the right knowledge or know-hows on moving into BIM. So I believe what Kevin has shown earlier in his presentation is with their Access Plus, they'll be able to assist companies better in terms of providing trainings or support. So I think these are the things that you would need. Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, so moving on with the Q&A here. Um, there's a question here that what's the difference between consume and package? So I think this is the for design collaboration. In terms of consume, um, it creates another copy of that file without accessing it directly. Okay, it's for you to link it in your model. In terms of package here, I think what goes in my mind or what enters in my mind is when you create a package um, that's already published, it goes to the swim lane or the timeline before um, for you to um, for it for the other teams um, to be for them to be able to see um, what is the updated version of that file. Okay.
All right. Maybe I can put a better. I mean, just to complement what Kevin has explained, if you could allow me to share my screen, just to give some examples of what the consume and share package looks like. So, so in within BIM 360. So if you could see my screen here, with BIM 360, it allows you to actually replicate the different folder structures that you have in your organization. So whenever, let's say, a package is actually shared, so in the event that, let's say, if I have an architectural team that is working on a Revit project here, and this needs to be shared out across different consultants, what I would need is to share this package to the rest of the team. So instead of sending links to them via email, like for example, traditionally you would use Dropbox or OneDrive, or it could be an FTP sharing service. So with BIM 360, we have this feature within the design collaboration that allows you to automatically share informations without the need of like creating a link for them. So in the event that, let's say, there's a model that has been published by the architectural team. So let's just say that I would like to share a model. So let me edit this. So let's just say that I would like to add those models that I have created in BIM 360 in this case. So in order for me to share this, so all that I have to do is to simply save this and share. So this is where you actually share your package in BIM 360. So this allows you to, let's say, um, share these models without the need of sending via email. So in this case, let's say sharing Archi model. So once I've done that and hit this share button, um, that information that you have shared across different teams gets saved within the timeline. So in this timeline, you can see all the information that was shared out by different consultants. So once that package has been shared, other stakeholders, like in this case, I'll try to move into a different team. Let's say I'm part of the ACMB team, or in this case, the M&E team. Any information that was shared out by the architect, I can easily consume that, and that data gets replicated in my folder. So once I consume that, hit that consume button. So if we go back to the document management in BIM 360, this gets saved automatically in my folder. So BIM 360 allows the proper management of files being shared and consumed by different teams. So like in this case, the architectural model that was shared out like today, so there's always a date and timestamp. So whatever changes that you have done in BIM 360 is captured by the system. So gives you the right access to cloud platforms um, plus the traceability of what's happening within the system. I hope that answers the question.
Okay, so next question is, did your company conduct in-house training and be part of your team as BIM modeler? I think this in terms of in CIM. Um, for now, we don't have in-house training because of the COVID pandemic, but we do have online trainings. And if you want to be part um, as a BIM modeler in our Alteon or BIM services, um, I think we we post some of the openings in our Facebook, even in our website as well. Okay. Okay. So I think that's the last question for now. Um, I will be turning over to Christy. Christy, do you have some parting words?
I think she's Christy. I think you're on mute. Yeah,
Can
Yeah.
you hear?
there you go.
Yeah.
All right. I'm sorry. I think it's the internet connection. I'm sorry for the technical difficulties during this webinar. Now, I would like to thank you once again, Engineer Rivas, for sharing a worthwhile topic to everyone. And thank you also, Engineer Kevin, for introducing us to CIM Access Plus. And thanks to all of you for your questions that you have raised during the Q&A. So now, before we end this session, we would like to know your thoughts as well as to know how we can be of service to you. I'll be sharing with you our survey on screen. Please answer these questions for us to know your feedback. Okay, so our first question: what products are you currently using? Okay. Number 2, what software are you interested in? Number 3, what are the tools inside the Autodesk AEC collection that might be useful to you? Check all that applies, please. Okay. I hope my pacing is all right. Number 4, when would you probably be recommending or making a software investment? Okay. Number 5, what is the status of your project funding? Number 6, are you interested to enroll for an online training to learn Autodesk software? Number 7, how satisfied were you with the webinar? All right. Number 8, how relevant is the topic to you? Number 9, how do you rate the speaker? And finally, how satisfied were you with the session content? Okay, so we will be issuing a digital certificate to those who will participate. To those who participated in the survey. All right, we're done. Thank you for participating in our survey. And also on the screen, next slide, please. All right, so on the screen are our upcoming webinars. Please invite your managers or supervisors to join our next webinar, which will be on September 16th, for maximizing large format printing profitability in the new normal. September 17th, for the Adapting to the New Normal with BIM collaboration and Autodesk AEC collection. And to our executive webinar on September 24th, Amplifying Your Business Continuity, Best Practices in BIM to Consider in the New Normal. You may register through the links that we sent in the chat box. Once again, thank you, and we look forward to seeing you online on our next webinar sessions.